Fox 14.
On Tuesday, the city of Oronogo is asking residents whether or not it should sell its natural gas utility to Spire. I'm Chris Warner with why the city wants the sale and what that could mean for residents.
As negotiations stall in Congress, Senator Joe Manchin is scolding progressives, telling them to quit playing games. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Washington. All this as President Biden is overseas trying to push his climate agenda.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Albee. Joplin police released the name of an assault suspect who was shot and killed by police. Police identify the suspect as 41-year-old Carl Junction resident Joseph Endicott. JPD says he was shot by officers responding to a call from a victim who say they were being attacked by a man with a weapon. Police have not said what led to the shooting. No officers were hurt. The officers involved have been placed on administrative leave. A Webb City man is dead after a motorcycle crash. It happened near the intersection of Euclid and St. Louis Avenues in Joplin just after midnight yesterday morning. Police say 24-year-old Joseph Chapman was thrown from his motorcycle when he hit a pedestrian island. A car then hit Chapman. He passed away at the scene. Nick Kelly joining us now. Firstly, the forecast. Kind of a dreary, chilly day today, Nick.
A complete 180 from the nice weekend we just wrapped up, Jordan. We went from partly to mostly sunny skies on our Halloween to a lot of cloud cover, wet roads because of upper level waves coming through the region. Then as a result, temperatures only went from 40 this morning to 45. That was it because of all the cloud cover and the last of the rain this evening trying to clear out. But while we are getting a little bit of a break in the action starting late tonight from the rain chances, there's another wave quickly coming out of California and Nevada. That's going to keep us under the clouds with some more rain chances in the forecast. And as far as temperatures go, Jordan, we're already starting to sneak back into the upper 30s to lower 40s. This is where we're going to sit for the course of the night. We'll let you know when we're going to get out of this rut in our forecast coming up in a bit.
All right, Nick, thanks so much. City of Oronogo, Missouri is asking voters to approve the sale of its natural gas system. KOM's Chris Warner has more on why the city wants to sell and what it could mean for residents if approved.
Mayor Charles Wilkins says there's a number of reasons the city wants to sell the utility to Spire, such as continued maintenance costs.
With the increased regulations, increased training, Spire is a large corporation. They're in most of the communities surrounding us, and with their expertise and ability, it will cut down the workload on our public works officials.
Mayor Wilkins says they were approached by 2 utility companies in 2019, and the council decided to go with Spire's offer to buy the system. As for billing, Mayor Wilkins says residents shouldn't see a significant difference.
The bills will be very similar in pricing, where our bills change month to month based on spot prices of natural gas. Spire's is regulated by the state, and so they can't change prices as often as we have to based on pricing.
Officials with Spire agree with Mayor Wilkins on billing, saying the biggest change residents will notice is the bill itself will look different. As for other changes, Spire's Director of Business Development, Brenda Linderer, says they're not planning anything big right now.
We are anticipating maybe sometime down the road upgrading their metering equipment into a more automated meter reading device, but currently no specific plans to make any changes to the system.
If voters approve the sale on Tuesday, it won't be an overnight change. Spire then has to go to Missouri's Public Service Commission to get approval to add Oronogo to its service area.
That can take a while. We're not quite sure. It could be anywhere probably from 6 to 8 months before the process is totally finalized as far as getting approval from the PSC.
If approved, Spire would pay the city $620,000 for the system. Mayor Wilkins says they're not spending that money yet, but are looking at things it could pay for, like improvements to City Hall and other projects in the city.
We're also wanting to do some things with parks to help improve our parks, to give our residents more places for recreation.
In Oronogo, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Of course, a number of our area counties and municipalities have issues on tomorrow's ballots. You can go ahead and find a breakdown of those issues on our website, KOAMNewsNow.com. City of Joplin and Freeman Health System officials today announced the theme of this year's Christmas parade, Cruise into Christmas. See it right there. This is going to be the 51st annual Joplin Christmas Parade, though last year's parade, as many of us remember, was canceled because of the pandemic. The parade route is going to be the same as in years past, starting at 15th and Main, ending at 3rd Street.
We are so excited. I know people really missed the parade last year. It's just an annual tradition that's very near and dear to many people's hearts. So to be back and have hundreds of people along the main street of Joplin, it feels really, really good.
Parade is going to start at 6 p.m. on December 7th. All right, Halloween is over. It's the holiday season, and charities are starting to raise funds to help those in need. Salvation Army of Jasper and Newton counties today kicked off their Red Kettle campaign. The opening ceremony features some official speakers, family testimonials, a Christmas tree lighting, also some good cookies and cocoa.
Volunteers are the biggest part of it, because the more volunteers we have, the more money that we'll bring in. An unmanned kettle doesn't bring nothing in, and unfortunately that's kind of a sad story, but we really need the people out there to bring that money in.
Salvation Army is looking for volunteers to ring the bells at the kettle locations. You can find registration information on our website, again, KOAMNewsNow.com. The Biden administration is making plans to expand the COVID-19 vaccine rollout to children as young as 5 years old. Meanwhile, unvaccinated city workers in New York face sanctions. Fox News correspondent Jonathan Seary has more.
About 28 million children could be eligible for Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine this week. A CDC advisory panel will meet Tuesday to discuss whether to recommend the kid-sized doses for children ages 5 through 11. The White House says the vaccination program will be fully operational next Monday.
We know kids have different needs, and it's critical to follow the scientific process and the due diligence required before we bring vaccine to children.
Meanwhile, thousands of New York City police officers, firefighters, and other workers have been placed on unpaid leave for not complying with the city's COVID vaccine mandate. Union officials say they wanted more time to decide whether or not to get the shots.
That's all we were trying to negotiate, more time to make these decisions, just like the de Blasio administration gave every other organization, every other union in this city.
The Biden administration plans to publish guidelines in the coming days for a vaccine mandate for private businesses with 100 or more employees. Today, the White House released guidelines for federal contractors, giving them more flexibility to enforce the mandate. Contractors may be required to provide accommodations for employees who cannot get vaccinated due to a disability or religious beliefs.
They've been in place for other vaccines in the past, and agencies are following rigorous processes to evaluate religious and medical exemptions.
Southwest and American Airlines are giving employees until December 8th to comply with the vaccine mandate. In Atlanta, Jonathan Seary, Fox News.
President Biden speaking on the world stage today about the need for urgency when it comes to climate change. But back home in D.C., his legislation is moving far slower than he planned. Fox's Lauren Blanchard has more from D.C.
It's time to pass the bill and quit playing games.
That message from moderate Senator Joe Manchin as both the $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill and $1.75 trillion Build Back Better reconciliation bill sit stalled in Congress.
We are very, very close.
Close, but not there yet, especially after Manchin came out to scold progressives Monday. They are holding up a vote on the infrastructure bill because they are not happy with the president's proposed framework deal.
Holding this bill hostage is not going to work in getting my support for reconciliation bill.
Manchin also said the framework had economic gimmicks and may cost far more than has been announced.
While I've worked hard to find a path to compromise, it's obvious compromise is not good enough.
Manchin's message may throw off House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's plan to hold votes early this week.
Well, certainly they don't have the votes. The devil is always in the details, and there's a lot of details they have to work out.
Meanwhile, in Glasgow, President Biden hoping his climate agenda can help push the bills forward.
When I talk to the American people about climate change, I tell them it's about jobs.
While with world leaders, he has tried to focus on America's role in global climate policy.
I do apologize for the fact the United States, the last administration pulled out of the Paris Accords and put us sort of behind April.
President Biden also announced at the summit that his administration will try to get the country to net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
KOM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor another four-state hero. Ray Akins served in the U.S. Navy from 1944 to 46. Native of Erie, Kansas, Akins was in the Asiatic Pacific Theater, earning several awards. And we are proud to thank and salute Ray Akins. He's tonight's four-state hero. Nick is next with a complete look at the forecast. And later in sports, Parsons football seeing success in year 2 under head coach Jeff Scheibe.
Win up to 690.
After we had a pretty good Halloween to wrap up the month yesterday, we did the complete 180. Went right in the cloud cover, quite a bit of it. Not to mention some scattered rain at times throughout the course of the day, especially during the late morning into the afternoon. We're trying to see a bit of a lull in the action take hold. That's why it looks pretty quiet right now from Indigo Sky and Casino Resort outside of Seneca, Missouri. But the temperatures did a complete 180 as well. We had upper 50s to lower 60s for Halloween afternoon yesterday. But as soon as the clouds and the rain chances took hold, we dropped near 40 this morning. It only made it to 45 degrees at Joplin Regional this afternoon. In fact, you could even argue before we started the afternoon, especially hitting 45 at 11 o'clock. We had not just Joplin picking up on the cloud cover and the rain. We had some scattered rain taking shape across the good portion of the region, as a matter of fact. Fortunately, the rain hasn't been terribly heavy. It's been on the light side for the most part, so not much in the way of accumulation yet, averaging out about to a 1/10 of an inch of rain. But we're not quite done with the complete rain chances for the week just yet. Like I said, though, once we got the afternoon batch of rain out of here, we're starting to see a little bit of a lull take place. You can see not a lot happening in southeast Kansas, but as soon as you go south of I-44, there you could find some scattered light showers south of Grand Lake and back toward Table Rock Lake. But at least in Joplin, we're looking okay from 7th and Range Line. It's cloudy, sure, but we're not adding to the wet roads that we're still seeing across the city. 41, but with the northeast breeze at 7, no wonder it feels like 36 degrees outside. Everyone's sitting in the upper 30s to lower 40s, and this is primarily where we're going to hang out through the rest of the night as the cloud cover hangs tough as we continue throughout the course of the night. So let's break down our weather setup. At the surface, not a lot of action for the most part. Our last cold front's well to the south of us. We have high pressure keeping that northeasterly breeze in place. It's what's upstairs I'm keeping an eye on. This upper level wave passing to the northeast, that's what brought the cloud cover and the rain in today. This upper low out to the west, though, that's the one that will keep clouds in for tomorrow and bring in some more rain chances along the way. But again, though, we will enjoy a bit of a lull in the action, but can't help but notice, even with the cloud cover hanging tough, we'll drop into the upper 30s to near 40 to start the morning out. Then as we get into the afternoon, you can see how the future track wants to start bringing those rain chances back in once we get into the afternoon. 39 in the morning, 45 by noon. I think the best we can do with some breaks in the clouds, maybe a couple of them, pushing highs to about 48 degrees. I think the best shot for rain this week comes tomorrow evening through tomorrow night into Wednesday morning. Then thankfully, we're going to start to finally break out, see returning skies and drier weather too as we go into Wednesday afternoon. So as far as additional rainfall, not looking at heavy amounts, but anywhere from a 1/10 of an inch to maybe a 1/2 of an inch of rain. Then we will improve. Certainly turning drier Thursday and Friday and heading into the weekend with 60s returning on Saturday. But in the short term, Jordan, let's go 48 tomorrow and Wednesday. And even though we go back into the 50s Thursday and Friday, 34 Thursday morning and 32 Friday morning, that's still likely going to be probably our first frost of the season and maybe a light freeze for some.
Yesterday was good. You know, it was a fall day, so yeah, it's going to be chilly, but no snow, you know, so that's good.
Now, thankfully, none of that in the forecast, but it's definitely going to feel like winter come Thursday morning.
Yeah, Nick Kelly, we'll catch you in a little bit. Thanks so much, as always. Coming up, a key case between the U.S. Supreme Court being heard today.
At the Supreme Court Monday, lawyers dueled over Texas' controversial anti-abortion law. I'm Mallory Rivera in Washington with the latest coming up.
The big web city.
Supreme Court heard arguments in 2 suits challenging a Texas law blocking most abortion access across the state. The law bans abortions as early as 6 weeks in a pregnancy once a heartbeat is detected. Fox's Madeline Rivera is at the Supreme Court with the latest.
My body, my choice.
Dozens of demonstrators rallying outside the Supreme Court Monday as it took up challenges to a Texas law that effectively ended abortions in the state 2 months ago. The ban prohibits abortion in most cases after 6 weeks once a heartbeat is detected. But it gives the state no direct role in enforcing the law, authorizing private citizens instead to sue anyone who helps a woman get an abortion and be awarded at least $10,000.
As you know, this bill does something that hasn't been done like this in Texas before, which is to recognize that life is protected when the heartbeat is first detected.
Challengers argue the law violates the Supreme Court's precedents.
It designed that law to thwart judicial review by offering bounties to the general public to carry out the state's enforcement function. And it structured those enforcement proceedings to be so burdensome and to threaten such significant liability that they chilled the exercise of the constitutional right altogether.
Two conservative justices, Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett, raised questions about the law's legality. Justice Kavanaugh questioned if the state is exploiting a loophole through its unique enforcement scheme, leaving the nation's highest court to decide whether to close that loophole.
Several of the justices had serious concerns with what Texas is doing here.
While today's arguments focus more on the legal procedural questions and not the constitutionality of abortion itself, next month the justices will review a Mississippi law that bans most abortions after 15 weeks. In Washington, Malda Rivera, Fox News.
Coming up, another airline surprising passengers with grounded flights.
American Airlines cancels more flights on Monday as thousands of passengers work to find their way home. I'm Mike Tobin at O'Hare International Airport. Details coming up.
Holiday shopping expected to shatter records this year, according to the National Retail Federation. Spending is projected to reach as high as $859 billion. That would be a double-digit increase over last year. Breaking this down, the average consumer is expected to shell out nearly $1,000 on gifts and other holiday items. The retail tracker predicts people are going to spend more than $600 on gifts for family, friends, and coworkers. Travel nightmare continuing for thousands of passengers as American Airlines cancels flights for a fourth straight day. Fox News senior correspondent Mike Tobin has more from Chicago's O'Hare International Airport.
As soon as I got here, I got a text message that my flight was canceled. They had no crew.
And he's not alone. Countless travelers getting similar texts from American Airlines with thousands of flights canceled over the weekend and into Monday, leaving passengers stranded, many being told it could take up to 3 days to get them home.
I don't really know what we're going to do. We don't have any options.
American canceled more than 250 flights before noon on Monday. That makes more than 2,000 since the problem began on Friday. In that 4-day period, about 10% of the airline's passenger flights have been scrapped, and some travelers say they still haven't spoken to anyone at American about rebooking.
Any kind of information would have been great, but like I said, I'm just getting texts day after day saying this got canceled, we're trying to rebook you. It's just a very robotic process.
Staffing and weather shortages are reportedly to blame. High winds knocked out service at its main hub, Dallas-Fort Worth, leaving the airline scrambling to move thousands of pilots and flight attendants for the next assignment. But that never happened, leading to serious questions about whether American needs a logistical overhaul.
The problem is the airlines these days, especially American and Southwest, they're really extending themselves where, they don't have a lot of people on reserve. It's towards the end of the month when a lot of the flight attendants and pilots have maxed out their hours.
The airline plans to ramp up hiring to deal with staffing shortages before the end of the year with 600 new employees on the way. At O'Hare International Airport, Mike Tobin, Fox News.
Coming up, going to find out how long it takes for the average child to eat all that Halloween candy they just scored this past weekend.
When you give hope, everyone can afford furniture at Import Warehouse.
So how long does it take for you or your kiddos to eat all that Halloween candy? All right, quickly think about it. A new survey of parents with children between the ages of 3 and 15 years old found that 81% of children finished that Halloween haul in a week, with 1 in 4 devouring their candy within 2 days. It's not just the kiddos consuming the candy, though. Survey says parents will eat 6 pieces of candy before Halloween is over. Get this, 2 in 5 parents claim the children got creative in their pursuit of sweet stuff by changing costumes to hit houses more than once. Kids are smart, let me tell you. 5-year-old Ethan. I love him. He's my boy. But the other night, he had a full-size Snickers in one hand, full-size Milky Way in the other hand. He goes, Snickers, Milky Way. Snickers, Milky Way. You can just see the wheels turning in his head. And finally he goes, Dad, I could be standing here all day. Let me just have both. Kids are smart, right? Of course I said no. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming away. An area shoe store collecting donations of socks are going to be sent to active duty military members, also local veterans. Plus, the trial begins for a teenager accused of shooting 2 people during a Kenosha, Wisconsin protest.
We buy used mobile homes at that.
A Neosho, Missouri shoe store is collecting an item regularly needed by members of the military, socks. Shoe Sensations is hosting its 6th annual Socks for Troops fundraiser. Now, last year, the program collected more than 40,000 pairs of socks across the company's 200 locations. The socks are donated to active duty military members and local veterans.
So our company offers a 20% discount on socks that are purchased in the store that are donated. And then also we give a coupon for you to use at a later date to take so much off of a future purchase.
Just a reminder, the store is offering 20% off any socks purchased for a donation. You can also donate new socks at the Shoe Sensation location in the Flower Box city of Neosho. As the temperatures drop, some people are turning on their heaters, finding them broken too. Well, the Better Business Bureau has some tips to help with the search for a contractor to fix it. The Bureau recommends researching a company's background and licensing. Also, ask if there's a price difference about scheduling a service on weekends or weekdays. And get at least 3 cost estimates for any work.
Unfortunately, we get these complaints about people not always being truthful and sometimes saying you need a new $16,000 unit. Well, before going ahead and purchasing one, Better Business Bureau would recommend going ahead and getting 2 other people out there, seeing if they can come out for a free estimate and making sure that they can tell you what the scope of the work clearly is and if they can find the cause of the problem.
Now, another tip, review the warranty on your furniture to see if repairs are still covered. FAA is considering warning airlines and pilots about possible interference problems related to new 5G cell phone technology. The agency says certain automated features for flying and landing planes could be interrupted by new wireless 5G towers on the ground. The concerns are over a band of radio frequencies in the C-band spectrum. The FAA says the potential issues aren't related to consumer use of cell phones. However, modern cockpit systems help planes land in poor weather, prevent crashes, avoid mid-air collisions. A new wireless 5G service could go live in December, this according to officials. It's been more than a year since the city of Kenosha, Wisconsin was rocked by protests after the police shooting of Jacob Blake. It was during those demonstrations that then 17-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse opened fire on the crowd, killing 2. He says it was in self-defense, but now it's up to the jury to decide. Fox's Anna Eliopoulos has these details.
Jury selection is underway in the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse, the teen who shot and killed 2 people and wounded another during anti-racism protests in Kenosha, Wisconsin last year. Rittenhouse is facing 2 counts of homicide, along with several other charges. The now 18-year-old entering a not guilty plea, claiming he acted in self-defense.
With respect to the first 5 counts, the district attorney alleges that the crime was committed while the defendant was armed with a dangerous weapon.
In August 2020, Rittenhouse crossed state lines from his home in Illinois during police brutality protests in Wisconsin after Kenosha police shot Jacob Blake multiple times in the back during a domestic disturbance call. Blake is now paralyzed from the waist down. Rittenhouse is accused of opening fire with an AR-15 style semi-automatic rifle, killing protesters Joseph Rosenbaum and Anthony Huber, and wounding another. The polarizing case is expected to be a litmus test for self-defense claims, and it will be up to a jury to decide if Rittenhouse was a vigilante or hero.
Jurors need to put themselves in the position of Rittenhouse and decide if they or other reasonable people in that position would have come to the same conclusion and felt they had no choice but to shoot.
20 people from 150 prospective jurors will be selected to hear the case. Ultimately, 12 will deliberate, and the rest will be alternates. Kyle Rittenhouse is facing life in prison. The trial is expected to last roughly 2 weeks. In New York, Anna Eliopoulos, Fox News.
A bit later, a festive weekend turning deadly.
A series of Halloween shootings rocking communities across the country. I'm Marianne Rafferty. Details straight ahead.
We kept things on the gloomy side once again for today. I should say once again. We'll be able to say that for tomorrow because Mother Nature's ready to hit the replay button on today's weather for tomorrow. A complete 180 after we had to deal with a pretty good weekend to wrap up the month of October the other day, especially. Live look from Indigo Sky outside of Seneca, Missouri, showing some wet parking lot pavement, but most of us are trying to get a bit of a lull in the action after we had quite a bit of cloud cover today. And the rain chances certainly picking up late this morning and continuing through the afternoon then to start this evening out. Haven't seen a lot of accumulating rain with this system, this first wave at least, averaging out just to 1/10 of an inch of rain. But we're not quite done with the rain chances just yet. At the very least, most of us are starting to dry out temporarily while the cloud cover stays in place across the region. And the radar continuing to show the band of rain that we saw this evening kind of fizzle out a little bit. So you can pick up a few showers around the southern sides of Grand Lake and even back toward Table Rock Lake. But at least we're getting a chance to dry out a little bit. Doesn't change the fact that there's still some wet pavement from our vantage point in Joplin. 41 degrees at the airport. Northeast breeze at 9. Makes it feel like 35 degrees outside, so quite a bit of a chill in the air. No matter if you're sitting near 40 in our northeastern counties to maybe some lower 40s, maybe 43 in Independence and Fredonia, and even Yates Center on top of that. It's going to be a kind of a cold night, but at least most of us will get a chance to enjoy a bit of a break in our rain chances. But looking at the overall setup, don't have much to show you at the surface. High pressure over Nebraska is keeping that northeasterly breeze in place tonight, adding to the chill. But upstairs is what I'm watching as well. This first upper wave, that's what brought in the rain chances today. That's on the way out. But this upper low out in the west, Nevada and California, that's the next round of rain that'll be on the way for tomorrow. In the short term, though, again, we'll hold on to the cloud cover. Doesn't allow much wiggle room for temperatures to drop off much, but still, we'll start cold in the upper 30s to near 40 in the morning, but at least we'll be mainly on the dry side to start the day out. Once we get into the afternoon, though, that next wave out west comes quickly rolling on in. You can see how the rain chances want to start picking up as we go throughout the course of the afternoon. So let's go 39 in the morning, 45 by noon, afternoon highs right about 48 degrees. I think the better shot with the second wave in terms of rain will be tomorrow evening through the night and into Wednesday morning. But as soon as that wave decides to clear out, we'll get rid of the rain chances Wednesday afternoon, and we'll try to get some of the cloud cover out of here while we stay a bit on the chilly side for Wednesday. As far as additional rain, maybe another 1/10 of an inch to 1/2 of an inch, so not a big washout with this next wave that'll pass on through. But once it clears out, we are setting the stage for a dry end of the week and certainly looking good for the weekend. But before we see that jet work back in and bring temperatures back into the 60s for the coming weekend, we have to sit near 48 tomorrow and Wednesday. We're back in the 50s for Thursday and Friday, Jordan, but the morning lows, 32 to 34 degrees. Again, as a heads up for the green thumbs out there, maybe our first frost and a light freeze for some.
Time change Sunday, right?
On top of all of that, yeah.
Nick Kelly, thank you. All right, coming up in sports, going to catch up with the Parsons football team to learn about their success in year 2 under head coach Jeff Scheibe. Also, Pittsburgh's Grant Rolfs has hit a huge milestone through 9 games. Danny Terzer has it all next.
The latest on the Cup 26.
The Parsons Vikings are in year 2 under head coach Jeff Scheibe. They have more than double as many wins this year than last year and have won a playoff game. We caught up with the team to learn more about the impressive turnaround.
A lot of people outside of our players and our coaches, I guarantee you, did not expect us to be in the position that we're in right now.
Last year, in Jeff Scheibe's first year as head coach, Parsons finished 3-6.
I think that's added a little bit of fuel to the fire. We use that as motivation to, ignite us every day at practice, ignite us every day or every Friday night.
This year, they have more than double the amount of wins. Parsons is 7-2 and has won the last 5 in a row.
A turning point in our season was early in the summer. We went to a Pittsburgh State team camp and really built a lot of team chemistry, team camaraderie. and we had a lot of reps, and I thought that's where we really came together as a team, and it kind of ignited us and propelled us through the rest of the summer into the beginning of this year.
We were able to click, and like a lot of people were buying into what was going on and wanting to win.
The team also got to work in the weight room over the summer, and it's paid off. The Vikings won their first playoff game since 2018 last week.
Our defense has just absolutely carried us through the majority of this season, and being more physical, tackling better has just, really helped us, took us to that next level.
Everyone is stepping up.
We're going to start 5 sophomores on offense Friday night at Girard, and that group has really stepped up and played a huge part in our success. Those sophomores are making big plays on Friday nights, and if they can continue to do that, they're gonna be a special group here.
It's been quite the turnaround, but the Vikings aren't done yet.
I'm trying to do what the class of 2018 couldn't, which is get to the championships.
The Vikings have a huge game coming up in the regional round of the state tournament. Parsons is on the road against undefeated Girard on Friday. The Pittsburgh Purple Dragons are also still alive in the playoffs, coming off a 63-0 win over Casey Turner last week. That set a school record for most points scored in a playoff game. Running back Grant Rolfs had 5 carries for 129 yards in the win. He's been a key piece to Pittsburgh's offense all season long. Through 9 games, Rolfs has racked up 1,000 rushing yards, over 1,000 rushing yards. He's averaging over 100 per game, and he's got 13 touchdowns.
Grant has stepped up and had a phenomenal year for us at tailback. His intelligence is probably what sets him apart. He just understands it. You got to tell him it one time, and he'll remember it the rest of his career. Can't say enough about the type of person he is, the way he prepares, and the way he plays the game. He just plays it the right way with great passion, great energy, but it's never about him. It's always about the team.
The Kansas City Chiefs are back in action for Monday Night Football matchup against the New York Giants. The Chiefs enter the game 3-4 and 4th in the AFC West. At home tonight, Kansas City takes a 14-10 lead at half. Touchdowns from Tyreek Hill and Derek Gore. Giants score quickly to take the lead at the start of the fourth quarter. Now it's 17-14. The basketball season is gearing up. The Missouri Southern men take the court for the first time this evening. Missouri Southern at Wichita State for an exhibition game. Nice move in the post from Christian Bundy ties it at 2. A loose ball here, Lions come up with it. He dishes it from his knees out to Lawson Jenkins, who buries the 3. And that cuts it back to 1. Shockers get it to 7, then the pass out to Alex Jones. And how about this bounce? Somehow drops in. 1-point game now. And then off the steal, RJ Smith pulls up and hits the mid-range jumper. Lions trail by 18 at half. In the second half, a Smith 3 pushes it back to 13, but that's as close as they come. Lions fall in their exhibition 90-58. We're back with more news after this.
Series of violent attacks and deadly shooting plaguing communities around the world this Halloween weekend. Fox News correspondent Marianne Rafferty reports.
Terror on board a Tokyo subway Halloween night after Japanese police say a man dressed as the Joker stabbed an elderly passenger in the chest with a knife before spraying clear liquid over the moving train and setting it on fire. This footage taken during the attack shows people running for their lives as smoke begins filling the neighboring car. A 24-year-old suspect was arrested on scene, telling law enforcement he wanted to kill. At least 17 people were injured.
The shooting just would never stop. It just kept going.
Meanwhile, communities across the United States are recovering from a series of Halloween shootings. In Sacramento, California, at least 2 are dead and 5 others were injured after shots rang out at this banquet hall over the weekend. Police say roughly 400 people were attending an event called the Exotic Erotic Halloween Ball at the time.
It's insane. It's crazy.
Chaos also unfolding south of Chicago when a backyard Halloween party spiraled out of control.
We try to shut it down too. We try to get it to stop, and It just kept coming and coming in.
The hosts of the party say dozens of uninvited guests began showing up to their house when shortly after, 2 suspects began firing off their weapons, killing at least 2 and injuring at least 12. Sadness also sweeping over the Lone Star State after a gunman killed at least 1 and injured 9 during a Halloween party along the Arkansas border. Police say the suspect has turned himself in. Marianne Rafferty, Fox News.
All right, going to turn the page and the night with a happy note. Another Monday check of what movies are now available to watch at home. Also, those movie theaters when we come back. October is officially the best box office month of 2021. And movies like No Time to Die, Venom, Let There Be Carnage, Halloween Kills, and Dune generating more than $637.9 million in the domestic box office. As of yesterday, the domestic box office has tallied $3.1 billion through the first 10 months of the year. DVD, digital, and music releases this week included Animated Adventure, a supernatural drama, a 100-year-old classic, a legendary singer, and more. Here's Fox's Ash Dvorkin with a list of new releases.
Another perfect rescue. Topping the list of what's new in home entertainment, Paw Patrol the movie features Nickelodeon's popular team of puppies on a mission to save Adventure City from being destroyed by their biggest rival, Mayor Humdinger.
I'm looking for a truffle pig.
The drama Pig features Nicolas Cage as a truffle hunter who goes on the hunt to find his stolen pig.
It's your new beginning.
In the supernatural drama 9 Days, a man conducts a series of psychological tests and interviews on a group of unborn souls to determine which one will be given life on Earth. A teenage runaway faces her most terrifying nightmares when she takes part in a sleep study in the sci-fi horror film Come True. From the silent film era, the epic romantic drama The Sheik celebrates its 100th anniversary with a limited edition Blu-ray release.
Your Majesty.
From TV to DVD, Season 4 of Netflix's Emmy-winning series The Crown introduces the first female Prime Minister, Margaret Thatcher, played by Gillian Anderson, and Princess Diana, played by Emma Corrin.
They're taking over our city.
Also available from the small screen, Season 1 of the CW series Kung Fu, the 8th and final season of the sitcom Mom, and all 6 seasons of the HBO comedy series Sex and the City, plus both films Sex and the City the movie and Sex and the City 2 are all available to own for the first time in a Blu-ray box set. For music fans, legendary singer Diana Ross releases her first new album in 15 years called Thank You. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Got some cool stuff there. That's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Gonna leave you with video of animals at the Oregon Zoo enjoying some pumpkins. Getting rid of them. Halloween's over. Thanksgiving's coming up though. Be safe, do this all again tomorrow. See you then.